Hello everyone, it's raining hard outside and we are looking at another game in Danish Gambit Declined Lines Sorensen Defense. This game was played by two guys, white pieces, were with Radik Sloka and Jan Sosna had black pieces. I'm not sure if that a guy's or a girl's name. It's a pretty much club level game, although both of these players are rated 2350 plus ELO. White had 2358 and black had 2366. So well versed players in chess, not amateurs, but this is club level play. And the reason why I'm showing you this because we looked at a game in the previous video, and this is just another game to show you. The reason is to actually show you that Sorensen defense is effective in modern days. This was played in 2001, so it's a relatively older game, but still in modern chess. So let's look at it very quickly. E4, E5, D4, E takes D4, C3. The Danish Gambit. And D5, Danish Gambit declined, Sorensen defense, or Sorensen counter gambit, or whatever you want to call it really. D5 is the main move. E takes D5, and here white takes. In the previous game, we saw white pushing this pawn, E pawn up to E5. Here we see E taking D5. Queen takes D5. This is actually one of the recommendations by Houdini 4 Pro. Houdini 4 Pro actually recommends this line in the second or third variation. So this is a perfectly playable line for black. And we'll see that black will snatch the initiative from white pretty quickly. C takes D4. Now knight C3. Now the reason why players play gambit is to get the initiative, but here it is important to note that black snatches this initiative away from white, since both the queen, both black queen and black knight, are hitting this pawn. So this pawn is under attack. White has to defend. Knight f3, and now straight away bishop g4, pinning the knight to the queen. So this knight cannot move here defending this pawn, and again the threat by this knight and this queen right here is renewed. So white has to defend once again. So bishop e2 to break the pin. Now bishop b4 check. Straight away taking the initiative away from white, and at the same time you can see that black has developed almost all of its pieces. So we have this knight here on an ideal square at c6. We have this bishop slicing through these two diagonals. This is a3 f8 diagonal, and b4 e1 b4 diagonal, a5 diagonal, sorry. So these two diagonals, and it's beautifully placed, and then this bishop here is activated pretty well as well. So you can see the whole point of Sorensen defense. Black moves fairly quickly and develops the pieces, and there are absolutely no problems. Do you see any threats by white? Do you see white threatening black with a mating move? I don't. Let's see how this game went just a little bit further. Knight c3, okay, breaks the pin. Bishop takes f3, and not losing the initiative. Black is not losing the initiative. So bishop takes f3, bishop takes f3, queen c4. This queen here actually prevents white from castling. That's a very important point you should keep in mind. In gambit openings, usually it is beneficial to keep the opponent's king in the center. Bishop e3, bishop takes c3 check, b takes c3, queen takes c3, king f1. Now the king cannot castle because it is in check. I'm not sure why white chose to move its king, although bishop could have blocked. But anyways, if we do some analyses with Houdini, with Commodore right now, let's see what the results come up as. Let's do the analysis on queen takes c3 check. And Commodore actually does recommend king f1. This is the line, the main variation that Commodore is recommending. As you can see here, this is live analysis from Commodore 9.1, and Commodore is recommending 12 king f1 as the main move. So anyways, king f1 and knight ge7. Well, the game continued. Rook c1, queen a5, d5, castles queen side, and here you can see once again black is never losing the initiative. That is really important. Rook c5, so white has to protect this pawn one way or the other, has to do something about that weakness. Queen a6 check, queen e2, knight b4, queen takes a6, takes a6, king e2, knight b takes d5, rook hc1, and rook h e8. The rest of the game is irrelevant, it's the end game. But the point here is that black enters a comfortable end game. There are no problems whatsoever. White was not able to present black with enough threats to snatch the game away. Black has a comfortable endgame. Black had a comfortable opening, kept the initiative, and has entered into a comfortable endgame. The middle game was also not tricky at all. There were no tactics involved per se, sharp tactics. It was just simple piece exchange. And this is pretty much an endgame. This is an endgame with all the major pieces on the board without the queens. I think they call it the queenless middle game or something, so it is almost an endgame. But let's look at the rest of the game fairly quickly. Bishop d2, rook d7, king f1, g6, bishop e2, king b7, a4, rook d6, bf3, bishop f3, c6, rook b1 check, king c7, bishop e2, rook b8, rook takes b8, takes b8, bishop takes a6, knight c7, bishop f4, rook d4, bishop g3, knight f3, bishop e5, rook d1 check, king e2, rook d7, g4, knight d6, bishop d3, king b7, bishop g3, rook e7 check, king f1, knight e3, rook e5, knight takes g3 check. I think this was a decisive mistake by white, and here is where white really loses the game. This bishop actually is white's strongest piece. White has two bishops against two knights, and usually that should be an advantage. However, white wasn't able to capitalize on that. So knight takes g3 check, h takes g3, rook takes e5, king g2, and rook a5. And here white resigned, and we can see why. 1, 2, 3, I'm sorry, 4, 5. 5 pawns against 1, 2, 3, 4. And these 2 pawns are actually not even in the game. These 2 pawns are not even in the game because they're both doubled on the same file. And black has pawn majority on either of the sides. So black is clearly winning. And especially when black's C pawn is a certified passed pawn. It is very difficult actually to prevent this pawn from becoming a queen. So there you go, you saw another game. This is a human game with a little Komodo analysis. And I'm sorry. And this should give you confidence enough to play Sorensen defense on club level. So there you go. And like I said before, it's raining heavily outside, so enjoy the rain, guys and girls. Whoever is watching this video right now is gonna watch it. And happy hunting.